Hey you guys, I'm Brian Paul, and it's time for some more PlayStation VR breaking news. Today, Sony unveiled a new PSVR game called Puzzling Places that's slated to launch this winter. It's essentially a 3D jigsaw puzzle game, but each puzzle is a 3D render of an actual place in the world. Difficulty settings will allow you to change each puzzle from pretty easy, consisting of just 50 pieces, to really difficult with hundreds of pieces. Normally something like this would reek of shovelware, but this trailer actually looks pretty fun. Before we get into the games on sale, Sony just announced a whole slew of games that, for a limited time, will be completely free starting March 25th, including a few PSVR titles. And these are pretty great games if you don't already own them. So when the 25th rolls around, make sure you add Res Infinite, Moss, Astrobot Rescue Mission, Thumper, and Paper Beast to your library. And remember, this isn't part of PlayStation Plus. Once you download them, they're yours to keep. Alright guys, let's get into the sale. It's a little bit different in each territory, so while I'll be listing the games that are on sale here in North America, make sure you check your store for any regional differences. The discounts start today and end March 31st. Blindfold puts you into a room where you're interrogated and held captive by the enemy for maybe 5 minutes total. You nod your head yes or no in response to questions, and it's a complete waste of time and money. Down the Rabbit Hole is a third-person puzzle adventure with some first-person interactions in the vein of Moss or Along Together, but not nearly as interesting as either of those games. It'll last you about 3 hours at best, and while it starts off strong and has a nice overall look and feel, $13 is about the most I'd recommend paying. $13 for Derosine is a steal, but only if you're the kind of gamer that loves a slow-paced point-and-click adventure. It's teleportation only, and the story takes a few hours to get going, but once it does, there's no turning back. Endspace is the definition of a fun budget title. It strips out cutscenes, launch sequences, literally everything but the missions themselves. But luckily the missions are fun, and the lighting and shadows out in space give the game a great look. Definitely worth it for $5. There's no way around it, Espire 1 is a lost cause, but getting it at a crazy discount bundled with Killing Floor Incursion is still a pretty decent value. Killing Floor has a few bugs of its own, but blasting through the campaign in Horde mode with a friend online is a total blasty blast. The only real downside to Falcon Age is its 3-hour runtime. I loved exploring the world, unlocking new abilities, and hanging out with my pet bird. Falcon Age has only been on sale one other time before this, so make sure you grab it now while it's cheap. Hustle Kings has full-featured online and offline modes that have some really great looking rooms and tables. Jumping back in today, I found the move controls to be a little finicky compared to the DualShock 4, but it's still the best VR billiards game out there. Love it or hate it, Mortal Legacy is still the closest thing we have to Uncharted in VR. The game offers some fun combat, exploration, minor puzzle solving, and plenty of horror elements after the first hour or so. There are problems here, but certainly nothing worth complaining about for the price. Infinite Minigolf is a great minigolf game. It's just not a great VR minigolf game. You can't swing the putter yourself in first person, instead relying on third person button tapping. But there's plenty of courses here, and the course builder, if you have the patience. Playing through Intruder's Hide and Seek shouldn't take you more than 3 hours or so, and despite the questionable voice acting and character models, there's a lot to like about this game. You're the victim of a home invasion, and while trying to save your parents and sister, you discover some really dark secrets within your own house. There isn't a game I like criticizing less than Jupiter and Mars. It's got so much potential as a nice relaxing collectathon, but unless you really enjoy getting lost and wondering what to do all the time, it's pretty difficult to recommend, even at this insanely low price. My first instinct when talking about Lethal VR is to say that if you've already got Gun Club VR, then there's no reason to own this one. But that's not really true. It's a much smaller game than Gun Club, but Lethal is pretty fun as an arcade light gun shooter, especially if you enjoy chasing high scores. Pinball in VR is awesome, and if you haven't played Pinball FX2 VR, you're missing out. This version comes with 3 tables, so it's not bad as a starter pack. Additional tables can get really pricey though, so you might want to wait for another sale before picking those up. People will defend virtual reality till the end of time, but let's call it what it is. a cheap version of Job Simulator that's over before you know it. Some of the gags and humor from Rick and Morty made it into the game, and Alchemy Labs did finally add turn buttons, but this is strictly for fans of the show and still feels expensive at this price. Rush VR is no wingsuit simulation, it's just an awesome racing game that you can play solo or with 7 friends online. Using the burnout style technique of flying dangerously to fill your boost meter is the cherry on top of an already super delicious sundae. If you're a horror fan like me, you're going to enjoy a good part of Stifled. Your character's blind, and through mostly wireframe environments you'll throw items to utilize echolocation and distract enemies. It tells a decent story and has some okay stealth mechanics, but it's not exactly what you'd call memorable. Good for the discounted price though. TrackLab never figured out if it wanted to be a puzzle game or a music creation toolkit, so it's both, but neither part is any fun. This one is easy to skip. Tumble VR is part puzzle game, part Jenga, and for $5, it's actually pretty fun. Every time I drop into Wands to give it another chance, I come away disappointed. It's a 1v1 spellcasting game, but the node-to-node teleportation absolutely kills any enjoyment I should be having. Sure, it's been cheaper, but if somehow you don't already own the Wipeout Omega collection, this is one of the most polished, best looking, most intense racing games I've ever played. It starts off slow, but later races are blisteringly fast. Oh, and to top it off, there's actually 3 complete games included in this package, meaning you're definitely getting your money's worth.
They brought us war.
I've gone back and forth on Cyberpilot so many times, I'm not even sure what I think about it anymore. Throughout the 2-hour campaign, you'll pilot 3 different machines, and while taking down Nazis using a flamethrower is fun for a minute, the fun doesn't last long. There's some decent variety here, but it comes with a solid amount of frustration and a little bit of boredom.
We will rekindle the flames of freedom.
Alright you guys, it's all the breaking news I have for you today, but make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all the latest PlayStation VR reviews, Let's Plays, podcasts, and of course breaking news. As always, I'm Brian Paul, and I love you all.